Hi, my name is Ricardo Jackson, CEO of Campbell Health Solutions. I just wanted to hop in here before the show begins to let you know about our Tuesday late night clinic. Basically, it's every Tuesday from 5 to 9 p.m. by appointment only. We do HIV testing, primary care, wellness checks, STD screening, and treatment. So just give us a call at 561-208-6595 to schedule your appointment.
Well, hello. I do sound like Mrs. Doubtfire. And welcome to Positively Positive. And I am your host, Susan Mintz. This show is exclusively dedicated to any aspect of HIV or AIDS, whether it's personal story, like a lot of our guests, the long-term survivors, new diagnosed, or they want to talk about an event coming up, or you are an organization or a company. If you have a common thread, that's the word I like to say. If you have a common thread that's involving HIV or AIDS, you please contact Campbell Health Solutions. Contact Susan Mintz at just get in touch with us. We are so available on every streaming platform. And I mean, just amazing social media. We're not streaming all over yet. Social media platform. Please, we want to hear from you because this show it's doubled in size from last year because people want to share their story. We are a storytelling show. We are not canned. We don't commit to a certain time. We are just a show that wants to highlight what's going on all over the country in the HIV AIDS environment we are living in. So that's HIV. That's the show, folks. Positively Positive. I have tonight an exceptional guest. They all are, but tonight's they're all so different, which is what's so wonderful. Some I know personally, some I never met before. This gentleman, I literally chased down, though it was my pleasure to do it, chased him down at several events in Palm Beach County. What's your email? What's your cell phone? What you do? I literally, whenever I could see him, the guy's on the phone with other people or he's taking business calls or doing something. And here I am running around trying to, I want you on our show. The words, I also asked some people at events, some words to describe him. They've said humble, and for the position he holds, humble could be something that could be very challenging. Trustworthy, another big one in today's world. Dependable and honest. And in other words, he's just a great guy. So, without further ado, my guest tonight is the director of the Palm Beach County Community Services Department, or the director of the Community Services Department of Palm Beach County. I rehearsed that all day. And you know now when the glasses come off, it's my time to say, Dr. James Green, you come on in.
All right. Thank you so very much for that wonderful introduction. I appreciate it.
I love it. Just speak up nice and loud. Give me a big loud. I want to know where you were born, where you went to school, because you didn't get that PhD from just doing homework. You did a lot of homework. I want to know where you were born, where you went to school, and how did you end up in this amazing position as director of such Palm Beach County is a huge county. There's no doubt about it. It's a big job to handle community services, which we'll get into. I want to know everything you can do. But tell me a little bit of your background.
Okay, well, first of all, thank you for having me on the show today. And I also want to thank you for the work that you do in really spreading the word about resources that are available to assist those who are living with HIV, and for your advocacy and for giving people a platform to tell their stories, because those stories are so very important and encouraging to those who are living or affected by HIV. My name is James Green, and I am originally from Alabama. I've been in Palm Beach County for about 25 years. And I started my work in a residential youth facility called Eckerd Youth Alternatives. In 2000 or so, I moved to Palm Beach County and started working with the Urban League of Palm Beach County. And then for the last 15 years, I've been with the Palm Beach County Community Services Department. And so I'm a graduate of Auburn University, is where I got my undergraduate degree. Then got my master's from Palm Beach Atlantic University in organizational leadership. And in 2022, I earned my PhD in adult and community education from Florida Atlantic University.
You're an academic. I admire people who are in the academic world because it was not something I was very good at. I just barely made it through high school and college, but I always admire people that are so always going for learning more and wanting more, because the more you learn, the more power, and the knowledge is so important. But how did you then get involved more or less with the HIV component and everything? Was that part of your background with anybody, or did you have any personal involvement? How did that, where you said you were with the Urban League, you said in the beginning, right?
Yes. Well, I first got involved through some advocacy work with a family member of mine who passed away from HIV. And it was a pleasure to oversee a department, Community Services, which is a part of our county government. We are a funder and a direct service provider. We provide funding for about 125 different nonprofits and programs throughout Palm Beach County. We work with all 39 municipalities. And we provide direct services primarily in housing and homelessness, mental health and addiction, HIV, and economic stability and mobility. And so Ryan White is one of the programs and initiatives that fall under the Community Services Department. And it has been an honor and a pleasure working to provide access to testing and supports and medical, the medication that's needed in order for people to know their status, to get into treatment, and to become virally suppressed. I also want to mention that we do a lot of work with our senior citizens and with the disabled community. And so any marginalized community, any community that is considered vulnerable, we work with. We are kind of the overseer of the Palm Beach County's Health and Human Services safety net. So we work with other funders and service providers to ensure that our most vulnerable residents don't fall through the crack, and that they have access to the supports that they need in order to maintain financial stability and to move up economically.
And people who don't live here in Palm Beach County don't realize how large this county is and how diverse. I live in Boca, and of course I always say, well, there's no poverty in Boca. Everybody's, just rich as could be and has a Porsches and $1 million homes. Not true, but that's what you see. Then you have Belle Glade, and whenever I have somebody on from the Glades, I'm always thrilled, because talk about marginalized and people who don't get what they really need all the time, transportation, all of that. And we just had a guest on who talked a lot about that. And it's just so diverse, this county, to have a community services department. You have such a wide range. How long have you been the director of this department?
Well, I've been with the department for about 15 years, but I've been in this role as director for going on 8 years now. And we work with all of our major funders
Wow.
to provide support services in housing and homelessness, with employment, with transportation, food, health and wellness, that's physical health and behavioral health, which includes mental health and addiction. Education, we work with the educational system, our safety and justice system, and childcare system to make sure that our families can get access to the supports they need, especially when they are encountering or they've experienced a crisis in their lives.
How many people are employed in your department?
We have between 250 to 300 people who work with community services. And again, we are a funder and a direct service provider. So not only do we fund a number of agencies who provide support services for HIV, but we also focus on the social determinants of health, the housing, the employment, all of the things that oftentimes prevent people who need help and need medical treatment from achieving the outcomes that they need to achieve, right? So you can get the medical treatment and everything that you need, but if you're stressed out because of your finances, or you're stressed out because you're about to be evicted, or you don't have food or transportation to maintain employment or housing, then all of the work that you're doing in trying to preserve your health, it makes it less likely for you to achieve the outcomes that you want. And so we
Right.
work to ensure that our system of care is operating at maximum capacity to support those who are in need.
Right. And so you said about how many people?
Between 250 and 300 people. It really fluctuates depending on different programs that we might bring on board.
Okay. And so it's not just HIV, it's all
It's not
different
just
programs.
HIV, it's all of the social determinants of health. And again, you can get someone into treatment and get the medication they need in order to become virally suppressed. But if they continue to experience housing instability, or they cannot maintain employment, or they have mental health issues, or they're involved with the criminal justice system, or they don't have food to eat, or child care to maintain their household, all of those things are important for people to achieve the best outcomes. And so we work with all of our partners to ensure that people have access and to the supports that they need.
Okay. I'm going to continue to I'm going to go off. I'm frozen right now, so I'm going to go off and then come back on again.
Okay.
So I'll be right back with you.
Baker, they have been very generous in the contribution towards assisting with HIV and AIDS, and we've made quite a bit of progress over the years. The lowest death rate that we have seen in a long time, even though the number of cases have increased, we are still seeing death rates decrease, and that is really important.
Because you help people get the medications they need and send them to the right people who can help them.
It's not just the medication, but also other supports as well. There are a lot of individuals who are living with HIV who are homeless, or have mental health issues, or they struggle, especially in this economy, to provide food for their families, or to get the necessary health care benefits or child care, or they're involved with the criminal justice system. And so we
Right.
really take a holistic approach to supporting our most vulnerable residents.
So in your department that you oversee, how many different sub-agencies are underneath your umbrella? You're the umbrella, the community resources, but how many programs are there?
Oh, we have well over probably 50 to 60 programs, but they're all housed within several divisions. So we have our Senior and Veteran Services Division. We have the Human Services and Community Action Program. We have the Ryan White Program. We have the Behavioral Health and SUD Program. And then we have our financially assisted agencies. And so we try to make sure that those services are all integrated so that we can keep our residents in the center of what we do and they can have access to all of the supports necessary to achieve financial self-sufficiency.
Yeah, because you want them to have quality of life. It's not just how long you live, but housing. How's the transportation work? Because I know in the Glades they said at the library, Graham Brunk was my guest, and he talked a lot about what the library does as far as providing the palm trans. Do you see that there's any one area that is greater, or are they all intertwined? Of course, we know they're all encompassing. But would you say what are a couple that are really right now the most critical, whether it's funding, whether it's just resources? Where are the couple facilities, the couple departments that are having some real hard times?
Yeah, and so it's important to note that Palm Beach County has more than 1.5 million residents. That's larger than 11 states in
Right.
this country. And the geographical mass of this county is large. It's one of the largest counties in the southeast hemisphere of the country. And sometimes it's a bit difficult to provide the type of transportation infrastructure that's needed in order for residents to get to and from places that they need to go. And so when you go out to some of the more rural areas, you'll see that transportation infrastructure is not as strong. We do have our Palm Tran, and they have Go Glades out in the western area, and they're able to provide door-to-door service. But sometimes it's a bit more difficult to get to the East Coast, especially if you're working or if you have other business uh, this way. There's limited capacity, and so part of what we're looking to do is to fill that gap in some meaningful way, so that residents have the ability to get back and forth. Uh, I think the biggest gap, is probably in the evening, especially if you're working at night.
Mm.
And Palm Tran and Go Glaze, they're no longer in service. That's a huge gap that we are working with our system partners to address.
Right. Um, the other thing is that do you have a ministry that works with prison people who get incarcerated, who get out of prison, and they are, if they're not even HIV positive, getting into homes or getting them? How do you integrate people coming out of the prison system?
We work with our Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office
Great.
and our Public Safety Department to ensure that those individuals who are in prison, that they get the medication and the treatment they need if they're living with HIV, or if they're struggling with addiction or mental health, to get the supports they need. And then we have reentry counselors who, once they're transitioning back into the community, can continue to work with them and help them navigate and connect to the supports that they need in order to be successful. And so our system is very organized. There are still some deficiencies and some things that we need to work on, but we have broad scale plans in each of the areas that I previously mentioned, including transportation and including the all of the domains that previously mentioned. And we try to prioritize our most vulnerable residents, which includes those who are transitioning home from jail or from prisons.
And legal aid, do you have a branch for legal aid also?
We do fund a Legal Aid Society. That is one of the agencies that we support financially, so that people who are living with HIV and they have various needs. They'll have access to a free attorney, and that's really important. Perhaps one of the most important things that we do is work on systemic issues, policies that oftentimes perpetuate the lack of access to resources that are needed. And so, yes, we do indeed fund Legal Aid Society and Florida Rural Legal Services to provide legal support to our most vulnerable residents.
Yeah, you don't hear pro bono very much in the news when it comes to legalities, that's for sure. And then, as far as you said, you also work with the senior community. What department and what do you do with the senior community specifically?
Well, our Senior and Veteran Services Department, we provide in-home support services to senior citizens who have the greatest need. That includes food, case management, transportation supports, just about everything that they need in order to stay within their homes and to live a quality and dignified life. That's extremely important. We also operate 3 senior centers, one in the Glades area, one in North County, and one in Mid County, which is in the Lake Worth area. And seniors are able to come there and socialize and do activities so that they're not lonely, and they're able to get educational supports. And so we have our Ryan White team going in and providing education about HIV and AIDS and mental health and all of the supports that are necessary, because a lot of people don't realize that seniors are one of the most growing population when it comes to those who are contracting HIV and
Right.
those who have mental health and addiction issues. And so it's really,
Yeah.
really important that we support our seniors. We also have day centers where individuals who have early onset of Alzheimer's can come in if their loved ones don't want to leave them home. They think it's too dangerous while they're at work. Then they can bring them into these day centers, and we have nurses and staff who can help support them while they're working. And all of these services are free unless they are over a certain income threshold. And if so, then there's a very nominal fee that we charge for these services. But the vast majority of the seniors who come in are allowed to have free services. And finally, we have about 14 different meal sites where seniors can come together. They can have nutritious meals and they can socialize with people within their communities. It's just another way to keep their minds active and to keep them healthy and to improve their quality of life.
And who's considered a senior? Because Lord knows, I think I skipped over most of the decades of my life, and I went from childhood to senior if they are elderly. But who's a senior? What's your age thing for seniors?
Any resident that's above the age of 55 would be considered seniors. And some of our grants require that they're a bit older, 60 to 62. I think 62 is the threshold for some of our federal programs, but 55 and older is generally the age. And we provide electric bill assistance, utility assistance, because we cannot have our seniors in the dark or without water. We also provide an array of other services to support them if they're experiencing a financial crisis.
Why can't the country? I mean, look what you've done. I think Palm Beach County is the prototype for everything anyway. I'm so grateful to live here and for 40 years. But I just think that Palm Beach County is just this big, amazing, dysfunctional family, because you're always going to have the uncle that came to dinner that you didn't like, but he's part of the family. Palm Beach County is this huge county that's got every color and flavor and everything. And then for us to be doing, for you to be doing, and for the health department, don't mention that. I'm just saying for what we have here going on in Palm Beach County, the rest of the country could follow in this type of a manner. And there could be so much more done to help people. And it's not that it's billions of dollars. Yes, it's a lot. But I don't understand why there has to be so much lack when we live in so much wealth?
Yeah, we do work with the health department and the healthcare district and another number of other major institutions at the state and the federal level to provide support services. And we also travel around the country to share best practices, but not just to share best practices, but to learn what other communities are doing, that,
Good.
learning what works and gleaning those best practices and bringing them back here to Palm Beach County. And so we have presented at a number of national conventions. We've received numerous national awards for some of the work that we're doing here in the county. And I'm really proud to be a resident of Palm Beach County and proud of the collaboration that we have with our nonprofit service providers and major funders and foundations. I think that we work well together. And again, we've won a number of awards, national awards, for
Yeah.
the collaboration that exists within the county.
When I was checking your bio out, I kept seeing all the pictures of people that you were receiving awards or accepting awards or giving awards. It was after a while I said, we got awards covered really well. But have you lost any, have there been any cuts with the people that you work with because of funding? Have you had the attrition with this? People are losing their jobs. How have you, as a community resource department, lost any people?
We certainly have lost some funding streams, but it hasn't been at a point where it's been completely disruptive. What we're doing now is we're just watching what's happening at the federal level, and we are doing an impact analysis and a mitigation strategies. We're putting together strategies to be able to address and to deal with some of the things that we see occurring at the federal and the state levels. We do receive quite a bit of support from our federal government, including almost $10 million of Ryan White funding and some EHE funding. And so we're just waiting to see what happens over the next few years and doing what we can to inform our legislators about the importance of the services and the supports that we receive from them, and making sure that our residents know how to advocate for themselves. That's so very important. Many of the residents that we serve have no idea who their local, state, or federal elected officials are. And what we like to say is that if you don't know who they are, then they don't know who you are. They don't understand your plight. And oftentimes, they make decisions without considering how it might impact you. And so we want to do what we can to facilitate bringing people to the table, making sure that we maximize and amplify the voices of those who are affected with HIV, listen to what they have to say so that we can develop strategies and policies that have a positive impact on our system and our ability to provide effective and efficient services.
So you see that we're going in the right direction in this county.
Absolutely. I think that we've made quite a bit of progress in bridging some of the gaps that exist within our systems, but we still have a ways to go. For example, we have now decided to pay premiums, and I want to say thank you to our HIV Care Council for all of the volunteer work that they do in ensuring that people who are living with HIV, that their voices are amplified, that they're at the table, that they're making decisions that maximizes opportunity for those who are living with HIV. And we serve as the backbone organization, which means that we look at all of the data that service providers enter into the database. We analyze that data, we present it to the Care Council, we make sure that they can make recommendations for funding in certain categories, for certain supports that will enable our residents to have the best chance of knowing their status, getting into treatment, and becoming virally suppressed.
Yeah. I think the Care Council is the umbrella. I look at things as umbrellas. Everybody's a sub of something, a sub of sub of sub. It gets down to the minutia of it. And the Care Council, again, when I go to the meetings, I'm overwhelmed with the amount of goodness, whether it's a job to some people or they just really know they're called into this ministry of HIV. There's still this passion for the majority of people there to serve. I don't think you get into your position unless you have a passion to serve, because you have to crunch numbers, you have to answer to everybody, and it's your name on the top of it. So you have to definitely dot your I's and cross your T's. And when I see what's going on in this county with people like yourself and Richardo with the Care Council, or my other dear friends who are with the health, I just see such goodness coming out, and that we are a wealth of information here. And you're still doing it with a limited budget, because there's no way you're getting the money you need to fund all these wonderful programs that you do.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, there are limited resources, not enough resources to meet the demand, the need that's out there. And we are very, very grateful and don't take for granted the work that our HIV Care Council does on a volunteer basis. We have a group of very passionate and knowledgeable individuals. Uh, the leadership is very strong under the leadership of Richardo and the coordination of Nita Mahamni. I think that have made tremendous strides in ensuring that our residents can get the supports that they need. And so I want to say thank you to all of our HIV Care Council members, to the president of the Care Council, Richardo, and I also want to say thank you to Nita and to our Ryan White team under the leadership of Dr. Casey Messer.
Yeah, it's a phenomenal group of people. So as far as any spiritual counseling, do you have a branch under you that's in spiritual health? If people are
We
the
do
stigma, let me
recognize,
back up. Pardon me? Go ahead.
we do recognize the importance of the spiritual element in ensuring that our residents have a holistic uh, view and an approach to becoming self-sufficient. And so we work with our faith-based community to
Mm-hmm.
ensure that they are at the table and that we're leveraging resources that they have, whether it's providing uh, support services or whether it's utilizing their property or their land to build housing for those who are unhoused, living with HIV. And so we do have a very strong partnership with our faith-based community, and they're there to provide not just the physical supports, but also the spiritual supports for our residents.
Yeah. And the stigma that still exists with HIV is mind boggling, considering it's been 40 years. I still can't wrap my head around the stigma. But when you talked about mental health, look at the stigma with mental health yet. And it takes someone, shooting a group up or killing themselves before we're going to address the root cause. You have a big department with that. You said you have mental health counselors, you have a whole community service of mental health.
Yeah, and mental health is so important, and we have a higher percentage of people who are living with HIV that also struggle with mental health and addiction issues, and so it's really important that we have an integrated approach to our service delivery. And we are on the cutting edge of providing access to those supports. We're a community that has piloted an initiative where we can pay for the cell phones for individuals who are living with HIV, and we provide telehealth services, which includes mental health supports and navigational supports. And that is a program that's been recognized across the country and that we're hoping to scale as we continue to look for innovative ways to leverage technology to improve access to support services here in Palm Beach County.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to ask you about the technological end. I mean, if you don't have the kids who don't have computers, some of them may not be able to afford cell. So, I mean, how do you have a separate group, a separate department that also works with the youth, or let's say under 18 or high school or middle school?
We work with all of the individuals, whether they're adults or youth who are living with HIV. And for those who don't have access to cell phones, we pay for their cell phones, and we pay for their service and their coverage so that they will have access to the supports that are needed. Some people who have transportation issues are not able to travel to the doctor to get the medication and the treatment and the support that they need. And so providing cell phones that enables us to provide telehealth services is critically important.
Yes, that's wonderful. Again, I think I asked you before, where do you get private sector money? Where does the majority of your money, your funds come from for this department?
About 60% of our funding comes from ad valorem. Those are property taxes that are paid from our residents. Another 40% or so comes from our federal government, from our state government, and from some foundations. Very little from foundations, private foundations. But we also rely on nonprofits to do fundraising activities so that we can bring in the business community and they can support our efforts as well.
And I want to put up on the screen to make sure, how can people get in touch with the Community Resource Department? You have an email that they can, or a website. Can you just tell us the website and the email, or how to get in touch with your group of people, because it's very vital. This show, some people don't watch, some people have watched all the time, but for new people coming on, we want to give you as much information as possible in the time we have. So how would be the best way for people to reach the community resource or the website? What is that?
There are three primary ways that people can access our supports. One is they can call 833-CSD-WILL, that's for Community Services Department, WILL, WILL, or this 833-273-9455. So they can call and gain access to the services that I just mentioned. They can also go to our website at pbcgov.org/community services, or they can log on to rental assistance, pbc.org, electric assistance, pbc.org, utility assistance, food assistance, pbc.org, and just scroll down and they'll have access to all of the supports that I previously mentioned.
So the website again is what is the website?
So you can go to pbc.org/community services.
Okay.
Or rental assistance, pbc.org.
Okay, so it's pbc.org would be where you would go. We'll post.
Yes,
post all
and
this
or you can call 833-273-9455.
They'll post that. Yeah, there it is. We have that up on the screen now. We like to really make sure everybody. If you had a make-a-wish.
It's pbcgov, pbcgov.org/community service.
pbcgov.org.
Yes, pbcgov.org/community services. Or it may be easier for them to just remember rental assistance, pbc.org. That's usually easier for people to remember.
pbcgov.org. We got you. And the phone number. Right. If you had a make-a-wish, you got that Make-A-Wish Foundation. if you had to make a wish as the director and as a human, I mean, the people, when I asked a few people at these events about you, those were words that came up: dependable, trustworthy, honest, humble. I thought to myself, God, that word isn't used very much today at all in anything. Humility. But if you had a make a wish and someone said, Dr. Green, make a wish with this, what would you like to see downloaded from the heavens to Palm Beach County and the people here living with HIV?
I wish that one, everyone would have the access to the supports that they need in order to live a prosperous and healthy life. And so um, I think that would be my wish, is that everyone would have access to the supports that they need in order to live a quality life and to fulfill their potential. That would
And
be
their
my wish.
and
And I think,
and their purpose. I mean,
go
you
ahead.
want people to have a ministry, have a purpose, to feel fulfilled, that they were put here for something bigger than themselves.
Absolutely. All
It's
of us have a purpose. And just about finding that purpose and about having the opportunity to fulfill that purpose. And oftentimes we're struggling with so many different issues that we can't focus on fulfilling our purpose or becoming self-actualized, if you want to talk about Maslow's hierarchy. And my wish is that everyone would have the opportunity to fulfill their God-given purpose.
Yeah. And I always say, you don't choose your message chooses you. And it's a pet. If you want to accept it, fine. If you want to walk away from it, that's fine too. But what do,
That's
and
your
I always am asking you again, because they say pbcgov.org, but they can go to that. But I always like to personalize it. What do you, I think I asked you, what do you really like about your position with this? And where do you see yourself in another year, 2 years, 5 years? But what do you like right now the most about being the director of the Community Services Department?
Well, there's a saying that if you go into a lake or a pond and you see one fish floating belly up dead, that most people would think that there's something wrong with the fish. But if you go to a lake or a pond and you see thousands of fish floating belly up dead, then most people wouldn't say that it's the fish, is something wrong with the lake or the water. And in my role, oftentimes we get into the habit of trying to fix fish, meaning we tell individuals that it's your fault that you're in the position that you're in, or you need to pull yourself up by bootstraps. And oftentimes we make assumptions about people who are living in poverty, that they don't have the same values. They don't care about education. They don't care about family values. And so in my role, I get to dispel that myth. I get to make sure that we're working on treating the lake. We're working on systems and policies and structures that provide opportunity for people to earn a thriving wage and to live a quality life, to be a public servant, to be someone who is able at the state level and at the federal level to craft policy that and to recommend policies that will provide the best opportunity for our most vulnerable residents. And I can appreciate being in this role and work every day to bridge the opportunity gap for our most vulnerable residents.
Yeah. And where do you see yourself going in the future? Because we still can see where we're going, but doesn't mean we're going to go there. So where do you see yourself going in the next few
Well, I
years?
think I think I think for me, it's about being in a position where I can maximize impact. I want to be in a role where I'm able to influence uh, systems and shift conditions so that people can have the opportunity to fulfill their God-given potential. And so in the next 5 years, I hope to be in a position, wherever that might be, that allows me to do that, that allows me to advocate for the least of these, that allows me to help every resident to fulfill that role might be. That's where I'll be oriented towards. And right now, at community services, I get a lot of fulfillment because we get to help make policy recommendations, or craft uh, uh, policies or institutional practices, and work with our state and our federal governments to ensure that all of those systems are working together, that policies are aligned so that residents have the access to the supports they need in order to become more self-sufficient.
Yeah, and I want to put the phone number and the pbc dot pbc.gov.org. I want to put that
Yes,
back
it's
up there again.
www.pbcgov.org
Here it is.
/community services, or 833-CSD-WILL.
That's wonderful. That's what I remember with the will, because I said I just made mine out again. So I remembered at the event when then they had that up there with that. I just think that if you don't have a heart to serve, you couldn't be doing what you did. So is your background one also of a family that believed in service and giving to the community, or a faith-based? You sound like you're a faith-based man.
Well, yeah, I'm definitely I'm a Christian. My father served in the military. He's a World War II vet. He went to Tuskegee University on the GI Bill. He was a county agent, a county worker. Many of my family members were public servants, served in the military. All of them are very active and involved with social issues and trying to create opportunities for the least of these. And so it is something that I've been involved with for my entire life, and that I
Right.
plan to stay involved with, because I really do feel that a life of service is a life that counts, and that being here to serve others, just as Jesus did for those who are believers in Christ, that is our purpose. That is our ultimate purpose, is to be here to serve others. And so I feel strongly about uh, where I am and fulfilling my purpose now. And I continuously pray that I'll continue to be aligned with my God-given purpose.
Well, it's the door is open because of who you are. I mean, your reputation is of tremendous character, and I say that sincerely because sometimes that's hard to find today. And I know that's where I wanted to have you on also, because you're multifaceted, not just in the business world, but I picked up on your faith based and you're serving in the community and where your heart is. And that's what's wonderful. So, again, with the community services, how many departments are underneath you? How many agencies? How would you call them? Are they agencies under you or departments?
So the department has divisions and programs that are under me. And so we have about 5 divisions and programs that are under the Community Services Department. Again, there's Senior and Veteran Services. That's the Community Action Program and Human Services. That's our Ryan White program, which is, and along with the EHE program. We have the Behavioral Health and SUD section. And we also provide funding for about 125 different nonprofits and programs throughout Palm Beach County.
So there's divisions and then there's agencies. So it really is a breakdown till you get to the real issue, which is when that phone rings, there's somebody who in the right place getting you the help you need.
Yes, yes. So we have a call center that provides access to the supports that I mentioned. We also have a fiscal department that helps support the services and the payments that go out to these agencies and to many of the clients. And we are just one arm of the broader county government. And so there are about 20 to 27 different departments throughout Palm Beach County, park
Wow,
departments like Parks and Rec, like libraries, like engineering, like
that's right.
Palm Tran, uh, like environmental resource management, our public safety department, our water utilities department. Your property taxes go a long way in providing the quality of life that so many people envy here in Palm Beach County. This is paradise. We have lots of supports, lots of nonprofits, lots of faith-based community members, lots of business community members who are all at the table in creating access and supports for our residents. And so I'm proud to be uh, a resident of this county and a public servant with Palm Beach County.
It's wonderful. So it's really there's the wheel, and then you have all the spokes that go out from it. And so
Yep.
your department is just one of. You're very personal, though. Your department really gets into the personals of people's things, though, more than others, like parks and recreation. What is that? With yours, I mean, getting food to the homeless or getting them into a house. Do you think is more important than parks and recreation?
I think they're all important.
Yes.
And I think we try to work with all of those various departments to provide the necessary supports. And, and so we understand our role, and we're one of the public facing departments, the ones that help people when they've encountered a crisis or they have nowhere else to go. And
Hmm.
so we have a bunch of a lot of passionate employees that uh, put their own challenges aside so that they can focus on helping our neighbors and our residents. And we work with all of those departments to ensure that people have access to the supports that they need in order to live a dignified life.
So, who was over you? You're the director of the community service. Who was the next up as far as the chain of command to the governor? I mean, who do you answer to?
So we have an assistant county administrator and then a county administrator. And that county administrator reports to our Board of County Commissioners under the leadership of our county mayor, Mayor Marino. And there are 7 commissioners total. And those commissioners answer to the taxpayers. We are, as a county, we're a sub-political division of the state. And so the state is broken up into counties, and then counties are broken out into cities. And so we work with all 39 cities throughout Palm Beach County, but the county itself is primarily responsible for those unincorporated areas, the areas that the cities don't operate. There are quite a few of them throughout this large landmass. And so we are responsible for serving those residents who don't have a city commissioner or a mayor, but we also have to work together on a number of things from transportation to housing to food to health and wellness type services, and many of the services that we mentioned earlier on this call.
Yeah, and you have to have a personality that can work with bureaucracy. Because if you're someone that has a challenge dealing with authority, this is not the position for you because it won't work. You'll mess it up worse. And that's to me what's going on in a lot of things right now. So you have to be able to compromise, manipulate, rearrange, refocus, because you're dealing with a lot of personalities, not only under you, but all these layers. You said the assistant county here, and then the county this, and then there's the mayor. I mean, if you can't handle authority and rules and regulations, you're not doing your job.
Well, our Board of County Commissioners have 7 strategic priorities, or 8 now, that they have set, and our county administrator is responsible for operationalizing the policies. And so they set policies, and the county administrator is the conductor of all of the departments that implements those policies. And so we try to. It doesn't matter to us whether you're a Republican or Democrat or any of those things. What matters to us is that our residents have the opportunity that they need in order to fulfill their potential. And what matters to us is that we're doing the best that we can as stewards of taxpayer dollars to invest those dollars in the most meaningful way to get the most meaningful social and financial return on investment. And we take that very seriously, and we want to make sure that we're doing everything we can to maximize the impact
Yes.
of the policies that the Board of County Commissioners have set.
That should be the new buzzword, maximize. That's a powerful word when it comes to people's lives.
Absolutely. It's all about
Yeah.
changing lives and changing communities. Yep.
What I was going to ask you something about not getting back to the seniors with age. Oh dear, no. I asked you about how you love your job. What of the different agencies has the largest component of people or that you're finding the greatest need right now? Is it homelessness, veterans, and stigma? What is the of all the agencies under this department, is there any one that still stands out that requires the most hands-on?
Well, I think if we had to identify one lever that could improve outcomes in all of our systems, I think that would be housing, affordable housing. People with HIV struggle with affordable housing, and that often impacts their ability to work. Which impacts their ability to maintain transportation, food, the mental and physical health. And so housing is a lever that improves outcomes in all of our systems, including our educational system, our criminal justice system. And so we need to continue to focus on ensuring that our residents have housing that is affordable so that they can live a quality of life. We have about an 80,000 affordable housing unit gap. The vast majority of people, 90%, above 90% of the people who come into our department for help are considered housing cost burden. And that means that they're paying more than 30% of their gross income on housing, sometimes up to 50%, which means that they're extremely cost burden. And so when you're paying that much money on housing, then it makes it difficult to afford your medications, to afford food, to afford transportation, and all of the things that we need in order to have a quality of life. And so we're focused quite a bit on creating affordable housing opportunities for our residents because we know that we can improve outcomes in all of those other systems.
And a person wants to have something over their head that they can count on, that sense of belonging, and a house or a home or an apartment brings you that. But you said there's 8,000. How many people are needing homes, you said?
So we have about an 80,000 unit gap for affordable housing. About 40,000 of our residents who are renting can't afford their rent, and even those who are homeowners cannot afford their homes because the cost of condo assessment fees
Oh,
or housing insurance or property taxes or all of the things that comes with owning a home is just so expensive. And so our Board of County Commissioners, they're very passionate about this issue. They have pushed policy that will hopefully help address this issue in the near future. There's a plan called the Housing Plan for All that sets to create 20,000 units over the next 10 years through various resources, whether that's local ad valorem funding or federal funding or funding from the state through a trust fund that helps developers uh, be able to afford to build housing at an affordable rate, and a housing bond that was recently passed through a referendum that again provides gap funding loans to developers so that if they build 100 units, they can set some of those units aside at an affordable rate at $1,000 a month or $800 or $900 a month so that residents can afford them. And so housing is one of the Board of County Commissioners' strategic priorities. It's something that they focus very intently on, and we're moving the needle with trying to address that affordable housing gap that currently exists in this county.
Yeah. And the other issue that comes up a lot, though, is transportation because the
Yes, and
county
so
is so large.
our board, they serve on this transportation planning agency, and they work with our municipalities to. They're working to develop this transportation plan. There's been some initial discussions and concepts about going back to the voters to uh, to do some type of referendum to support transportation, even though that's kind of fizzled out. It may resurface in the near future. Transportation for our seniors and our veterans, similar to some of the initiatives that are happening with our neighbors to the south in Miami and other parts of the state. And so we recognize the importance of having transportation infrastructure. We recognize how having more cars on the road is detrimental to our environment. You know, it's a very complex system, but we have a very passionate board that are working comprehensively on these issues to make sure that our county continues to be the paradise that everyone wants to to be a
I,
part of.
even though we're talking about Palm Beach County, we also are Broward and Miami. It's like all of South Florida's got the same issues at this point. So we're all working together to try to fix it. I just saw that little thank you come up on the screen. So while I have you, I'm so glad that I was persistent in chasing you down. I am so grateful. Look at that smile. I'm so grateful that you took time out of your busy schedule to spend time with Positively Positive. And if you know any people in particular, other agencies or organizations or people who can contribute, whether it's someone with transportation or someone with housing, we want them on. We're only going to continue to grow and continue to have amazing people on. And so anybody that you think just they can get in touch with Richardo and myself or all over the country. It doesn't matter if they live in LA or Spokane or, it doesn't matter. But if you can share anybody else with us, we would love to have them. We will let you know, Dr. Green, when your interview will air, and then we will notify you so you can share it to the tens of thousands of people you know all over the country. And so I want to say thank you personally to you. You're a marvelous individual, and you're just a joy to work with. And what people have said about you is absolutely correct. And then I also want to thank all our wonderful viewers who there's some real faithful ones and new ones coming on, and we've doubled since last year with our viewing audience. And once we get a big major drug company to sponsor us, we're going to be streaming everywhere, streaming and screaming. So I want to thank you all. And it's just this show, Positively Positive, is making a difference in people's lives. And I'm Susan Lee Mintz, your host, and I'm always going to be committed to love.
And thank you, Susan, for your passion, for your advocacy, and for the work that you continue to do for those who are living with HIV. And thank you to Richardo and to Campbell Health Solutions and to our HIV Care Council for all of the support that you continue to give. And thank you for having me on the show.
We're all in this together, aren't we?
Absolutely. Absolutely.